Hello everyone, this is the story I'd like to read to you now. It's called Somebody and the Three Blairs. It's a very old book and I've had it for a long time and I've read it lots and lots. That's why now it's looking a bit tatty, but I still love this book and I want to share it with you. If you know the story of Goldilocks and the Three Bears, then you might think that this story is a bit familiar. Are you ready to listen and to look at the pictures? Somebody and the Three Blairs. Somebody and the Three Blairs. One Sunday morning, in a small house on the edge of town, a family was sitting down to breakfast. There was Mr. Blair, Mrs. Blair, and Baby Blair.
"It's such a fine morning,"
said Mr. Blair.
"I think we should take a walk in the park."
"What a good idea," said Mrs. Blair. "Feed the ducks," said Baby Blair. So they took their coats and a bag of breadcrumbs and set out for the park. While they were gone, somebody came to the door. Somebody knocked on the door, and when nobody answered, somebody tiptoed in. He sniffed and sniffed. He looked at the breakfast table. "This food's too dry," said somebody. "This food is too noisy," snap, crackle, pop. "But this food is just right." He looked for somewhere to sit. "This chair's too hard," said somebody. "This seat is too wobbly," said somebody. "But this seat is just right." He looked for something to play with. "This game's too noisy," said somebody. "This game's too cold," said somebody. "But this game is just right." He looked for something to drink. "This rain is too hot," said somebody. "This pond is too small," said somebody. "But this stream is just right." He looked for somewhere to sleep. "This bed is too big," said somebody. "This bed is too small," said somebody. "But this bed is just right." When Mr. and Mrs. Blair and Baby Blair came back from the park, they looked at the breakfast table.
"Somebody's been eating my crunchies,"
said Mr. Blair. "Somebody's been eating my Crispies," said Mrs. Blair. "All gone," said Baby Blair. They looked around the room.
"Somebody's been sitting on my chair,"
said Mr. Blair. "Somebody's been sitting on my chair," said Mrs. Blair. "Broken," said Baby Blair. They noticed the mess.
"Somebody's been emptying the cupboard,"
said Mr. Blair. "Somebody's been raiding the fridge," said Mrs. Blair. "Naughty," said Baby Blair. They went upstairs.
"Flood!"
shouted Mr. Blair. "Help!" shouted Mrs. Blair. "Water!" shouted Baby Blair. They looked in the bedrooms.
"It's a burglar,"
said Mr. Blair. "It's a monster," said Mrs. Blair. "It's a big teddy," said Baby Blair.
"It's escaped from the zoo,"
said Mr. Blair. It's escaped from the circus, said Mrs. Blair. It's escaped down a drain pipe, said Baby Blair.
Somebody phone the police,
said Mr. Blair. Somebody call the fire brigade, said Mrs. Blair. Somebody gone home, said Baby Blair. Bye-bye, come and play tomorrow. I hope you enjoyed that story. And could you see how it was like Goldilocks and the Three Bears? See you again. Bye-bye.